The bad news is the company PharmaPax in the last 7 or 8 days filed for bankruptcy. Now, PharmaPax has sales over $500 million. In fact, they were the number one top seller in the past 5 years, according to Marketplace Pulse, for 1,730 days out of 1,825. So virtually the entire time in the past 5 years, they've been the number one seller. The the catch, of course, what leads to somebody who's doing $1.6 million a day to go bankrupt. It turns out if you sell at a negative outcome, a negative profit, then you are just digging a deeper hole. So again, I don't want to say I'm an expert about PharmaPax, but through the industry, you learn a few things about how things work. PharmaPax, when it released its financials in September 2021, had a 45% gross margin. So that's not bad, right? You could make a 45% gross margin work in some cases, but the challenge is when you're on the bleeding edge and you're trying to push revenue at all costs, their overhead kind of outpaced the gross margin, obviously, right? So at the top line, you have revenue, and then you got the cost of goods sold that serves as your kind of gross margin, the difference between those two. Then you have all your operational costs, and operations is where the rubber hits the road. So in our first example, we talked about the fact that Hero Cosmetics was able to, put together 45 million in EBITDA. That's earnings before interest, tax, depreciation, and amortization, by the way. But that's a good key metric is, what do you get from the top line, that revenue, past COGS, past operations, to drop down into your earnings. And then people have different, interest, tax, depreciation, amortization schedule. So that's why everybody likes to gauge earnings based on that, because each company can be quite different in terms of those latter four categories. So, here you have a company that generates 45 million in EBITDA and versus PharmaPax, that was literally selling, at a positive margin, but a negative operating margin. And that is where the rubber hits the road.